Could this Egyptian hieroglyph be Nephi's name in Egyptian? But before that, why do we even look for Nephi's name in Egyptian in the first place? In a scripture reference found in First Nephi chapter 1 verse 2, Nephi mentioned the language and writing system he is using to create his record. He said, "Yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews and the language of the Egyptians." So if Nephi had access to the Egyptian language, does his name have an Egyptian meaning? If you look closely at the previous verse in First Nephi chapter 1 verse 1, the word good as in goodly or goodness appeared twice. Using this Egyptian hieroglyph, the word shows up in an ancient Egyptian as a term meaning perfect or complete, and it can also mean good, pleasant, well, or even beautiful. What could be the ancient Egyptian word for beautiful? Antonio Loprieno, a renowned Egyptologist and linguist, suggests it was pronounced Nefer, though it's usually written as Nefer in Egyptology. Can we find any scriptural evidence, either in the Bible or the Book of Mormon, to support this claim? The following scripture references mention people being called fair and beautiful. In the Old Testament, Esther, or her Hebrew name Hadassah, is being described as both fair and beautiful in Esther chapter 2 verse 7. In the Book of Mormon, we find First Nephi chapter 13 verse 15, where the Gentiles are being compared to the Nephites before their destruction as both exceedingly fair and beautiful. In another scripture reference found in 3 Nephi chapter 2 verses 15 and 16, a people who had been previously cursed, likely referring to the Lamanites, are now being called exceedingly fair. In 4 Nephi chapter 1 verse 10, the united people of Nephi after the coming of Christ, who are now being referred to as exceedingly fair and delightsome people. In Mormon chapter 6 verses 16 to 19, Mormon, while mourning the loss of his people, the Nephites, who had just been destroyed in the final battle at Cumorah, called his people fair ones and fair sons and daughters. So, could Nephi's name have roots in the Egyptian word Nefer, meaning good, fair, or beautiful? All we can say with absolute certainty, the linguistic clues and scriptural patterns give us something fascinating to consider. Nephi himself tells us his record draws from both the learning of the Jews and the language of the Egyptians, opening the door to possible connections that are both spiritual and historical. Ultimately, it invites us to reflect not just on what Nephi's name might mean, but on who he was: a goodly parent, a fair record keeper, and a beautiful example of covenant discipleship. If you find this content beautiful, then share this with your fair friends and relatives. And then you can stop watching this and read your scriptures.